Hello, everyone, and welcome to another chapter of the Blender Essential tutorial. So, now we are on our chapter number 8, and here we'll be talking about the mesh components and the object origins. Okay, so we'll be learning what the mesh components are, how you will be able to delete those, and also we'll be learning about the object origin. Okay, so what does the object origin means? Like if you delete your mesh component, but still you will have your object origin inside your 3D view panel. Okay, so let's not waste time and let's get started with this chapter of mesh components and the object origins. So over here, as you guys can see, now I'm here in the workspace of the Blender. And over here, you guys can see I do have all of these objects present right over here. So in last class, we do have learned about the object mode, and also we did have learned about the edit mode. If I come here onto the cube, let's go to object mode, and from here, let's go to the edit mode. And now what you can do is if you just select any particular part, so you guys will be able to delete it as well. Okay, so now I will come here and I will just select this vertex option, and let's say from here what I want to do is I want to delete a particular vertex. So let's take this particular part right from here, and what I'll do is to delete, I will just click on X from my keyboard, and here I will have these delete drop down menus. Okay, so here you do have different options: delete vertexes. Okay, if you want to delete the edges, if you want to delete only the faces, or only edges and faces, or only faces. Okay, so for that, the first thing what I'll do is if I click on vertex over here, now if you want to view it from all the sides, you guys can see the component which I had over here, so that one is basically deleted. Okay, so over here you guys can see now I don't have this particular object. But how have I deleted all these things altogether? Because I had selected only one vertex. So for that you need to make sure that you know key. So over here, if I come here and select this particular key or this vertex, it will basically delete the whole thing out. Okay, because without this key or without this vertex, I won't be able to make this particular shape. Okay, so in that case, now if I just move it around through the x-axis, you guys can see how it actually looks. So without this vertex point or without this particular key right over here, you would not be able to have this whole shape around. Okay, so I do have deleted this part. So now let's say if I want to delete the edges. So for that, first I will come here in the select mode and I will select the edge select. And now if I just come here and let's say I will just select this whole thing out, and from here now again I will click on X, and if I come here and if I click on edges, so here you guys can see I do have only deleted the faces and also the edges over here on top. Okay, so if I click on Control Plus, you guys can see that on top I don't have the edges, but on this particular side I do have the edges over here as well, as it had deleted only both of these parts. Okay, over here on top, and also as this one doesn't have any fill. So again I will click on Control Z to go back, and now let's say if you want to select any face. Okay, so I will go to select mode, and from here I will select this particular face, and now if I click on X, and now if I click on faces over here, you guys can see I do have deleted the whole faces around. So now using X, if you want me to move around, you guys can see I am able to move around from here as well. Okay, so Control Z from here again. And now if you want to view it in a different way or delete, let's click on X. And now from here, if you select only faces, you guys are able to see that I do have the edges over here, but I don't have the face or the fill. Okay, so you guys can move on the x-axis and you guys can see right now you don't have any fill, but still you do have these edges. So individually you guys can come here and select these edges from here as well. Now again I will go back using Control Z. Okay, so you guys can come back right over here. And what you can do is now let's select this part, and from here let's click on X, and after that you guys can also select only edges and faces. Okay, so over here you guys can see the whole thing over here had got deleted. So now come here, select this one, and lastly click on X from your keyboard, and now just delete only faces. Okay, so now over here I do have this particular face, and if you want to go back again to your object mode, you guys can click on tab and it will redirect you in your object mode over here as well. Okay, so individually you guys can come here and move it around. And if you want to go back again to the edit mode, click on tab again, and here you are back again at the tab mode over here as well. Okay, so this is about that. And also in last class, I have showed you that you will be able to add more components to it from here as well. Okay, so once you're in the edit mode, if you go to add, and let's say I want to add a plane, and now let's click on S to scale it up. So over here, you guys can see now I do have scale it up altogether. Okay, so now if I just click here outside, and from edit mode, if I turn back to my object mode, here now you guys can see this is basically one object. Now if I click on S, you guys can see I will be able to increase or decrease the size accordingly. So now again, if I come back here and let's go to my edit mode. Okay, and from edit mode, let's say if I just select the whole thing out. So for that, let's go to select, and from select, let's click on all. Otherwise, the shortcut key for selecting all component is A from your keyboard. So if I just click on all over here, now you guys can see I do have all these mesh components selected over here. And now if I click on X to delete, and if I go to vertices, here you guys can see the whole thing is deleted. So you guys might be thinking, okay, now the whole thing got deleted. So watch how you will be able to make things up. So to make sure that the whole thing is not deleted over here, only the mesh component or the component which I had here under the mesh is deleted. If you look here into the offset panel as well, here already you do have the cube option. Okay, so now if I come here, let's go to the object mode from here. So let's go to and click on tab. Okay, so otherwise come here. So now if you want to move this object, make sure you select the cube, and from here now if I click on G, so if I come here, let's click on the cube, and from here now if I just click on edit mode, and from here now if I click on G, okay, so you guys will be able to do that. So now again come here, go to the object mode, and from here now if I click on G, you guys can see this small yellow line. This is basically called as the object origin. Okay, so I can basically move it around wherever I want. If I want to move it around in one particular axis, let's say if I want it to move around in the x-axis, I can come here, move it around the x-axis. If I want to move it around the y-axis, I can come here, click on the y option and move it around the y-axis as well. And if I want to move it around freehand, I can click on G again. Okay, so let's come here, and now if you want to click on G, and now you guys can actually move it right over here. Okay, so now as you guys can see, now I do have the object origin right over here as well. Okay, so now over here, let's say if I select any other object. Okay, so for that, first let's go to view and let's go to frame all, and now let's say over here, now I am not able to see where my object origin is. Okay, so now it is just quite impossible to find the object origin from this particular place. Okay, so again, if I want to select the object origin, in that case I will go to the cube, and over here you guys can see I do have the object origin. So if I want to move it along, I can come here, click on G, and I will be able to move it around quite over here. Okay, so come here and just left click and you will be able to paste that thing down right from here as well. Okay, so now let's come here and let's try to add different kind of object. Okay, so let's go to add, and from here let's go to mesh, and from here let's take up a cube. Okay, so now using Control plus, I will just zoom in. Let's take my hand tool and let's place it right over here. And what you're going to do is you are going to actually make this one door like structure. Okay, so for that, now what you're going to do, the first thing is, so now again, I will go here to the edit mode using the tab key. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to come here and let's try to change the axis. Okay. So if you want to select this particular axis right over here, now if you try to move this along, okay, you guys can see the whole thing is moving along all together. Okay. So now let's come here and let's just decrease the size. So for that, I will just click on S. And now what I'll do is I will click on X, okay, because I want to actually move the size from the X axis. Okay, so I'll come here and I'll just place it quite like this. Left click on my mouse, and over here you guys can see now I do have this particular component over here in the center. Okay, so now again, if using the object mode, you guys can come here, and if you want to click on G, and if you want to move it through the y-axis, okay, you guys can come here and move it through the y-axis over here as well. And over here on this particular icon, you guys can see this one is basically the object origin over here in the center, and over here in the center, this one is basically the cursor. Okay, so this is the 3D cursor right over here. So now if you want to increase the size of this one as well, click on tab for the edit mode. Now let's select this whole thing up. Okay, so I will come here and let's say I will just select the whole thing up from here, and now I will click on S, and now I will click on Z. So for that, now I will be able to change it only to the Z axis. Okay, so you guys can come here and maybe just change the size to the Z axis from here. So now as you guys can see, I do have moved this one on top, as I am trying to make a window-like structure over here, or a door-like structure. Okay, so if you want to move it along, you guys can come here and basically move it along. If you want to give this one a rotation in the x-axis, you guys can come here and maybe give this thing up a rotation here in the x-axis as well. So now let's move the x-axis right from this side, that I am able to view this properly when I work. So let's move the hand tool. Let's keep this thing over here in the center. And now what I'll do is I will come here and let's say now what you want to do is you just want to move this particular object origin. Okay, so if you only want to move the object origin, I'll be telling you guys how you will be able to do that, and also different ways to do the same thing as well. So now again, I will come here, let's select the whole thing up, and from here now I will click on G, and from G again I will click on Z to move it along here on top. Okay, so I will just move it here on top, left click on your mouse to just paste to that particular place. Okay, so now here you guys can see now I am at this particular point right over here, and here you do have your object origin. So now if I want to give this thing one up a rotation, okay, so for that what I'll do is I will go again to the object mode. So I will click on tab, and now if I click on R, and if I want to give this thing a rotation on the Z axis, I will click on Z, and here you guys can see from this particular point actually it is basically giving me up a rotation. Okay, so over here you guys can see from this middle part it is giving me a rotation, but for me I don't basically want that. What I want to do is I want to give this one up a rotation from here in the center, or wherever I want. Let's say from this side I want to give this one up a rotation from this side as well. So for that, the first thing what you need to do is you need to go here to the options option, and from here now you guys need to click on origins. Okay, so you guys can come here, click on to the origins option, and now what you can do is you guys can go to object, and under the set origin you guys can go, and from set origin you guys can select origin to geometry. Okay, so you guys can come here, and now you guys can see this one is exactly here at the center. Okay, so this particular object origin is basically at the center, and now if you give any rotation, it will give a rotation from this particular point from the center itself. Okay, so again, if I go to object and if I go to set origin, and if you want to bring your object origin through the 3D cursor, which is here in the center, you guys can actually bring that one from here as well. Okay, so now let's go to origin to 3D cursor, and now the object origin is over here in the 3D cursor. And if I click on tab, and now if I click on R, okay, so let's click on R over here. Now let's click on to this object mode, and now if I click on R and if I want to give this thing up a rotation, you guys can see I am not able to give up a rotation for this particular thing. Okay, so I will just come here and again go back. Okay, so I will just come here and make it back here again at the center. So now let's say I want to bring this cursor over here on this particular side. So in that case, from object mode, what I need to do is I need to go to the edit mode. So now let's click on tab over here, and now from here I will select this vertex mode. Okay, so I will click here on the vertex, and now I will select at what part do I want this one selected. So I will come here, I will select this particular part, and from here what I'll do is I will go to the mesh option, and from mesh I will go to snap, and from snap what I'll do is I will go to cursor to selected. So from here you guys can see now I do have this particular cursor right over here in this particular edge, because I will be giving this thing up a rotation like a door from here. So now I do have this particular cursor over here. So now I need to change the origin, which I can only do from the object mode. Okay, so I will come here on the object. Let's select the object option from here as well. And now again, what I'll do is I will go to set origin, and from here I will select origin to 3D cursor. Okay, so I will come here and I will just select this particular option. And now if you click on R, and if you think that you want to give this thing up a rotation on the X axis, select the X. And now over here, you guys will be able to see that you will be able to give this thing up a rotation from here. Okay, so let's come here. And now I will just select all before that. So I will come here. Let's go back. And once you are over here, okay, you do have your cursor over here as well. So now once you are done, make sure that you turn off your origins from here. Okay, so once you have turned off, if you want to give this thing a door-like rotation, you guys can come here and let's say I will just click on R and I will click on Z, and over here you guys can see you are giving a rotation from the Z axis. Okay, so you guys can basically use it from here. Now let's say and Control Z again. Okay, so now if you want to give this the same thing over here, in that case again what you'll do is you will click on tab to go to the edit mode. Okay, so come here, go to the edit mode, and from here let's select this vertex over here, and now let's go to the mesh option, and from here let's go to snap and cursor to selected. Okay, so now I do have my cursor over here in the selected part, and what you can do now is you guys can come here and let's say once you are done, let's go to the object mode, and from the object mode now you guys need to go to object, and from here let's go to the set origin, and from here origin to 3D structure. Okay, again now if I want to give a rotation from this particular end, let's click on R, and from here let's click on Z, and now over here it's giving a rotation from this particular place. Okay, so this is basically the object origin. So now here in this particular class, we will also learn that if we have multiple objects, how you will be able to join them and how you will be able to separate them as well. Okay, so for that, the first thing what you need to do is you need to come here and you need to add different kind of objects. Okay, so here I am in my object mode. Let's go to add. Let's click on mesh, and from here now let's take a cylinder first. Okay, so just click on G and just move this cylinder right over here in one side. And again, what I'll do is click on add, otherwise Shift A. Okay, so I will just click on Shift A. From there, I'll go to mesh, and now I will take a sphere. Okay, so I will just take this UV sphere. Let's click on G and let's move it around over here as well. Okay, so now this three things are different objects. Okay, so here you guys can see the sphere, and over here you do have the cylinder. Okay, and over here you do have the cube. Okay, so this one is the cube 001. Okay, as I already do have another cube. Okay, so where I have actually deleted the mesh components. So if you want to just join all of this all together, make sure you select one, and let's click on Shift. And lastly, the one which you want to keep as the primary object, select that one at last. So once I have selected, if I want to link all of this, I will go to this object option. Otherwise, I will go to this particular option right over here. Okay. And now from here, I will be able to actually join this. Okay. So the shortcut key for the join is Control J from our keyboard. So I will click on join. And now here you guys can see in the offset panel as well. Now all of these things are under this cube 001. Okay. So I will just type this one as door. Okay, so I will just save this one as door. Okay, so I will come here, I will just off this one. And now let's say if I want to actually edit all of this individually, once you have selected all of this, go to the edit mode directly from here, and you guys can see all these components are already added. Okay, so now if you want to just edit only one part, okay, so for that you guys can come here and select any one object. And now if you want to actually work over here individually, okay, so this is how you guys can select this part, and again move the x-axis. Again, what you need to do is come here and select this part over here as well. Okay, so you have to do it individually. But now if I just click here outside, let's select only one part from here. And what you can do is you guys can come here, and from here let's go to the select option, and from here let's go to this mesh. And from here what you guys can do is you guys will be able to select only this particular part. Okay, so if you come here and let's just check all these things out over here, let's go to mesh. And from here, if you want to actually merge, you guys will be able to merge it from here as well. Okay, so now I will come here, select this one, let's click on Control J. Okay, so I will just click on Control J to link. So I'll go to select from here, and from select, I will go to select linked. So the shortcut key for that is Control L. So I will click on Control L, and over here you guys can see now the whole thing over here actually got in selected. Okay, so now here the whole thing got selected, right? Okay, and now if you want to separate this as a different object, okay, so over here in the offset panel, now you guys can see this one is under the door layer. Okay, but now if you want to have another object, and if you want to just unlink this, what you can do is you guys can come here as you have basically selected this one. And now what you'll do is you will go to this particular option. Okay, so if you go to this mesh option, and from here if you click on separate, and now if you click on selection, now this one is selected separately. So if you want to see this one, you guys can click on tab again, and now if you click on G, you guys are able to move this one individually. Okay, so now you will be able to move this thing individually. But over here you guys can see the object origin is right over here at the center itself. Okay, so if you want to change it, what you guys can do is you guys can come here, and from here let's go to object, and from here let's click on set origin, and here you guys can click on origin to 3D cursor, otherwise origin to geometry. Okay, so now over here you do have this one over here at the center. And now the same way, if I am here in the object mode. Okay, so now let's come here, let's go to this edit mode. So now here also you guys can see this is selected as door 001. So I'll come here and I will just name this one as sphere. Okay, so I will just name this one as sphere over here. And now if I go back to my object mode over here, you guys can see I do have my object mode right over here. So if I click on rotation using this particular angle, it will get rotated. Okay, but if I just go back to the same position how it was before, otherwise let's take this particular cursor right over here. Okay, let's say come here, and now what you'll do is you will go to this mesh option, and from here you go to the snap, and from here if you go to the cursor, you guys will be able to go to the cursor as well. Okay, so you guys can come here and let's go back, and now this one is a different object. If you click on R, it will give this one upper rotation. So here you guys can see, if you just double click over here again, let's name this one as sphere, and I'll just save it up right over here. Okay, and now if you select all of this, you guys can see that you will be able to move this one individually. Okay, so over here you guys can see that you will be able to move this one all together, both of this. But if you select this one and click on G to move around, it will be selected individually. Okay, and also you have actually managed to put this object origin over here in the center of this particular icon using the snap option, okay, or the set origin option from here. Okay, so now let's come here, and you guys might be thinking, okay, in what case should I actually put this or join this one, and which case should I just separate this? Okay, so you have to understand that concept. Basically, suppose you do have a table, okay, and there you do have different kind of icons in your 3D animation. Okay, so if you think that you might change all of those, then you guys can actually change those things down or do it individually. But as for starting, I will prefer that you guys don't join the objects, but now you guys can actually separately work with those objects. Okay, but as you guys can see, if I select this one and if I go to G, and now if I want to move it in the x-axis, here you guys can see both of these objects will move all along. Okay, so now if you want to select it individually, come here, select this option. Now let's go to the edit mode, and from the edit mode what you can do is select only one particular object. And now let's go to the select option, and from here you go to select linked, click on the linked option right over here. And what you can do is now come here, let's go to the object mode, and from object let's go to snap, and otherwise let's come here, and from object what you can do is you guys can go to object right over here, or from here you guys can go to the select option as well. Okay, so come here, and from here you guys can actually select any options. Okay, if you want to actually put up a parent, okay, you guys can come here and you guys can put up a parent as well. And if you want to separate those things, you guys can come here and you guys will be able to separate all of this from here as well. Okay, so now let's come here, let's select this, and now let's go to the edit mode. From here, now let's select only one part from here. Let's go to this option. Okay, select linked, click on the linked option, and the whole thing over here got selected. Okay, so now if you go to the mesh option, and if you want to separate, you guys can come here to the separate option and click on selection, and now this one is also individually selected. Okay, so now if you want to scale it up, okay, individually, you guys can come here, and if you want to give this thing up a rotation, you guys can go to the object mode, and from object mode let's come here. If you want to select it, give this thing up a rotation, you guys can actually give this thing up a rotation. And now I want to change this origin, so right click over here onto this object, go to this object option. Okay, otherwise come here, let's go to the object option, and from here now let's go to set origin, and here you guys can click on origin over here. And now if you want to scale, it will be scaled from the center itself. Now click on S, and this is how you guys will be able to scale it up quite like this. And if you want to give this thing up a rotation, click on R, and over here you guys can see now you will be able to give some rotation from this side as well. Okay, so if you want to put it right over here, now let's move out this angle from here. And if you want to increase the size, you guys can actually increase the size on the x-axis as well. So come here, now let's click on X, and now I will come here. Now if you select this one, you guys can actually move. Otherwise, if you just click on S and if you just move it all along, it will be moved all along. If you click on Z, okay, so come here, click over here, and now let's select the option as S. And now I will just select the Z, and from here you guys can see it is only increasing the size from the Z axis. So yeah, I hope you guys have understood this class on how you will be able to select all of these objects individually, as well as how you all will be able to select this in a joint group. Okay, so if you want to select all of this again, you guys can actually put this one inside one object. Let's come here, let's change this one's name to sphere. Okay, so come here, let's click and let's type sphere over here, and you guys can see I do have the whole thing right over here as well. Okay, so I will just change its name to a cylinder. Okay, so come here, let's click cylinder, and now I will click on enter from here as well. So here I do have a camera, I do have a cube. Okay, so this one is the object origin. Here I do have my cylinder, here I do have the door, and also here I do have my light option. Okay, so if you want to frame it all, go to view and click on frame all, and here you are able to see the light from here as well. Okay, so if you want to move this, you guys will be able to move it from here as well. Okay, so I hope you guys have understood this class on how to actually work over here and make different kind of icons and what are the usage of the origin. So at first it might sound little bit tricky, but with time, once you keep on practicing for a whole time, and if you don't understand this tutorial, make sure that you prefer this again and again. So I hope to see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye everyone.